So earlier this week, I released a video on how to stop carrying everything when your partner is just as depleted as you are. And in that video, I talk a little bit about relationship conflict and resolution. So today, I'm gonna dive in a little bit deeper as to how we do it. So welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Leslye. I'm a firefighter and a mom of two. And on this channel, I share how you can show up as the best version of yourself and for your family. And if this is something that resonates with you, subscribe and follow along. So in that video, I'll link it here, I talk about how every stable, healthy relationship is gonna have conflict. That's part of it. And that's how you learn and grow together as partners, and also how you learn to become better parents for your kids and how to connect with your kids. So conflict is such a part of relationship that I think a lot of people avoid because they're afraid of conflict. They think that, well, if I don't have a conflict, then I have a perfect relationship. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. And the most important thing with conflict is to, recognize when you're in conflict, but also recognize when you're bringing past problems into it, like past conflicts and past fights into the current one. The sooner you can recognize that, the faster you can resolve the conflict and you can get to the root of the problem and not rehashing every little dirty detail from the past. That is something that a lot of people do. We did it in our relationship. And now we're able to recognize that so much quicker that we don't really do that anymore. And if we do, it's for a very short time. We catch ourselves in it. We've done a lot of work on ourselves too in order to bring this together. And I really strongly believe in having to be able to raise really strong, mentally resilient kids. It's also having a very strong family unit. And that also starts with parents and how we resolve conflicts with each other. So one of my favorite tools to use for repairing relationship is the 5-to-1 magic relationship ratio. Basically, it's from Dr. Gottman. The principle is that for every 5 negative things, you have to say 1 positive thing. That way, the overall emotional climate stays towards connection, respect, repair, warmth, humor, affection, appreciation, and responsiveness, so that we're not stonewalling or ignoring the other person. So for negative interactions, I'll give you some examples. Things like criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, eye rolling, harsh tones, dismissiveness. Those are all negative interactions. And positive interactions are often little things that you do. Things like saying thank you or a gentle touch. Humor, that's a really important one. Validating feelings, turning towards connection and attempts to repair affection, curiosity instead of assumption. Those are all positive interactions. So the 5-to-1 ratio, how does it work? I'll tell you one thing. It is very hard to implement when you're mid-conflict, and it is almost impossible. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We haven't leveled up to that point yet. But like I said, our conflicts are a lot shorter. They're a lot more manageable. Most often we'll resolve the conflict within the day, if not even faster. Sometimes even like within 2 hours, within an hour, we're able to resolve our conflicts so much faster. Whereas before, we did hit a really low point in our relationship, and I'll get to that in another video. It was while I was pregnant with Hayden. So I was pregnant with our second one, and we decided that it was a wonderful idea to renovate our house. Well, that put us in a lot of stress, and there was so much strain on the relationship, and it almost broke us up. It really did. Like it was really tough on us. But we are committed to each other. We are committed to our family, and we're committed to showing up as the best version of ourselves for each other, to each other, and for our family. So because of that, we just kept looking for ways to make our relationship work better and better and better. And now, like, honest to God, like, it's the best it's ever been. And it's because we've ride the crazy waves of, like, sometimes they felt like tsunamis, like they were intense. But we rode those waves. And again, I'll get to more details in later videos, but today I'm gonna focus more on the 5-to-1 magic relationship ratio. So basically how it works is that for every negative interaction, you say 5 positive ones, 5. So it's quite a lot, and it is really hard to do. So I'll give you an example of when we implemented it last. So we had a disagreement, a conflict, a fight about something. I don't remember what it is anymore. And I remember when we had time to actually really talk about it, we're upstairs in our bedroom and I was just laying down. Jason's really good with that. He's always the one that pulls us towards resolution and pulls us towards repairing, whereas I'm the one that typically will tend to stonewall. I'm doing that less and less now. I catch myself and I'm like, oh, I'm doing that. I just gotta let the ego go. I just need to not do that and not continue on that path. So he'll reach out and we'll try to connect and we'll try to resolve the problem. So whatever we were fighting about, we ended up resolving the problem, but there was still tension in the air. And that's what happens sometimes. A lot of times, you've been fighting, you finally resolve it, whatever it was, but there's still that residual tension. And this is when I find it's best to implement the 5-to-1 ratio. And I remember very clearly, I thought about it too. I was laying in bed and I'm like looking at him like, I should do that 5-to-1 magic ratio. I should find 5 things nice to say about you right now. It was so hard. It was so hard. It literally took every ounce of my willpower to muster up something nice to say. And I came up with the best I could, which was, I like your shirt. It wasn't probably the best example, but that's really all I had in me at the time. But because I said that, it was kind of like a snowball effect. It was a pattern interrupt because we were still there was still that tension, but I said something nice and I kind of broke the ice on that, and he said something nice about my hair and I'm like, oh, thank you. And then, I'm like, okay, 4 more things. Well, I like your hair too. You look really nice with glasses. And I found that too, like every time we said something nice about each other, it was a better comment and it was a better interaction and we were more connected. And I don't know, by the end, we might have said 5 things, we might have said 20 things. I wasn't really keeping track of it, but I just remember afterwards, I'm like, okay, all right, I guess the fight's over. We don't have to be mad at each other anymore. So that's really cool. And it is such an effective tool. And I think, try it out and see how it works. Because again, conflicts are inevitable. I think we should just take the pressure off and just acknowledge that it's part of life. It's part of relationship building. So don't try to avoid conflict, but try to find the best way to have disagreements, but still understand each other's point of view, because that's really important too. Instead of assuming how the other person is feeling, again, sometimes we do that. We assume how they're going to react based on past reactions, which is kind of unfair because that person actually has been working on themselves. I know I've been working on myself. My husband's been working on himself, and both of us have made immense progress. But if we just assume based on their past behavior, we're setting them up for failure because we're kind of expecting that old version of themselves to show up when they've upgraded, they've leveled up. They're not at that level anymore where they react a certain way. So I think that's another really important thing to remind ourselves of when we're in a fight with our partner, that we can't assume that they're going to react the way that they did. They have learned. We have learned. We grow from our mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. And really, that's the only way to truly let ourselves have the space to do that. It's to not assume how the other person is going to react. Give them space. Give them the time to talk about it. Give them time to formulate their thoughts instead of cutting them off and inserting what you think they're going to say, because that is also a trigger. That could also trigger, their past self, that it's like, oh, well, if you're going to think that of me anyways, I'm going to bring that past self back on and here we go. Let's fight again, gloves up. And I think, there's just a better way to do it, and we just have to give ourselves grace, give our partner grace, be nice. That's actually one thing that we wrote on the chalkboard. It was during another fight we had. I don't remember what it was. I try not to remember our fights. I'm like Dory from Finding Nemo. I don't remember things that aren't important. Anyways, so we're having a conflict and I just remember telling him just be nice to me right now. Be nice to me. And he said, my husband, he's like, you know what? That's really interesting because I am always very patient and nice to the kids, but for some reason, I'm not as nice to you because you're an adult and I just expect to not have to be as nice to you. So that to me was a very interesting thought. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I know I'm not a kid and I don't react the way our kids do. They have big feelings. I have big feelings too, but I don't react the same way. I still have my feelings. And that was really interesting that he thinks that because I'm an adult, that he doesn't necessarily have to make the extra effort to be nice the way he does with the kids. And I said, no, that's not true. I'm still a person. I'm still a human being. I'm still a person. I'm your partner. I'm your wife. You still have to be nice to me no matter what, even if we're sleep deprived. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, because when we're sleep deprived, when we're without kids, single, back in the day before kids, like it was so much easier to be nice and to be kind to each other because we just had the bandwidth to be more aware of how we're behaving towards each other. But with kids in the mix, it is tough. It is tough because kids are demanding. They demand a lot of your effort and attention and awareness. And then, you sometimes just don't have it to give it to your partner because you're just so tuned in all the time interacting with your kids that you're like, oh my God, well, my partner knows me, that they'll give me grace regardless. And there is truth to that. We do give our partners grace and we do let a lot of things slide, but you still have to be nice. That's like the bare minimum that we got to do for each other. So because of that, he actually wrote "be nice" on the chalkboard with a little heart around it. It's really helped us because it's a visual reminder. And again, like sometimes we just don't have it in ourselves to remind ourselves to be nice. But sometimes that visual reminder, I'll catch it. Like sometimes, even when I'm having a conflict with the kids or a struggle with the kids, I'll catch it in the corner of my eyes and I'll be like, oh yeah, be nice. Okay, I can do that. It's like a way, it's a pattern interrupt. And when I see that, it's a way for me to recalibrate and to think, okay, no, yep, I got to do that. Let's just take a moment. Maybe I need a timeout for myself, maybe whatever it is. Like, it's just a reset. It's a way to recalibrate your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors. Yeah, so I hope this video helped and gave you guys some insight as to one of my favorite ways to build and repair a relationship after conflict. And if this is something that you resonated with, share with a friend, subscribe, follow along the journey, and comment below if you want me to talk a little bit more about conflict resolution between each other, between your partner and yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you at the next one.